Yes, we can. It's being live streamed.
Okay. Namaskar, everybody. I am Kusum Kolvyas. I am based in Ahmedabad, India. I am blessed today to be hosting today's session of Shaktiworld. In Shaktiworld, we present women with extraordinary accomplishments as expression of Shakti, power, and her achievements. Today, our guest is Miss Vinita Pande. She is a multifaceted personality and she has achieved so much in life, gained so much of knowledge, and putting it in practice for herself and for the people around her or anybody who approaches her. She has written many books, notably two of her books, Eternal Way to Bliss and Merging with the Blood, Mythical Path to Oneness. She went to school in India, but did her college in USA. She did graduation in computer science, but there is a twist here. She did a combination of computer science and a minor in comparative religions. That is something very different than others. She did both at the same time in the same university. She studied Christianity, Islam, and of course, Sanatan Dharma, what we call Hinduism today. She has studied spiritual traditions, mysticism, New Age spirituality, and ancient civilizations for last 30 years. Science and spirituality come hand in hand for Vinita ji. Quantum physics, Ayurveda, astrology, yoga, sound vibrations, healing, past life regression therapies are her fortes. Vinita did sound healing course with world acclaimed teacher Jonathan Goldman. She learned past life regression therapy at Polor's Canon Institute. She learned various spiritual aspects of life from different masters. She has integrated her own inner and outer world and has crossed the bridge between the material and spiritual world. Why we are here today? That is because of her latest book. She has written a book named The Dance of Duality. Today we will talk about her latest book, why she has written and what is the purpose and what has she written. But before that, I will take this audience to 14th century. We will go back to 14th century Kashmir in India, Bharat at that time. In Kashmir, there was a mystic saint. She was called Laleshwari, Laldet. I think all Kashmiris know about her, but Vinita ji also knows about her, and her book is somewhere based on Laldet. The book is about her experiences and Laldet, somehow connected together. I think it is Vinita ji only who can talk more about it. Laldet was a Kashmiri mystic saint. She was an exponent on Shaivism, a school of Sanatan Dharma at that time. She wrote mystic poetry, and her poetry was called Vak. Vak by Laldet. Vak is a Sanskrit word which means spoken, words which are spoken, verses by Lal Ded. And today, Lal Ded's works, her poetry, she has written 285 verses, not written, but she spoke. They were written later on. We will talk about it. 285 verses she spoke at that time. They have become an important part of Kashmiri literature at present. Lal Ded was born near Srinagar in Pande Tharan, but she died at Bijbehara. That's a small town near Anantnag, south of Kashmir. Her poems were mentioned by different writers at different times in 16th century, 17th century, 18th century. But in 19th century, a British writer, he tried to translate. When he heard about her works, her spirituality, what she had said, her mysticism, he asked someone to translate them. And that went to the Western world during the British rule in India. Before talking to the book, I will talk more about Lal Ded, but I would like to say a vak. I would like to recite a vak, first in Kashmiri and then I will translate it. Latan hun maz, laryom watan, akye hovnam akni vat, yim yim bozan, timkon matan, lalibuz shatan, unika. Om. I will translate it for my audiences, those who don't know Kashmiri. I treaded several paths, so much so that my soles were off. Then my inner self guided me to follow the path of my consciousness to reach the ultimate destination. Why would not those who would hear it go crazy? I, Lala, could hear only one word, that is Om, without getting distracted by hundreds of other sounds. So today we have before us Vinita ji as the Lala.
Not quite.
Lala is the name she has taken, I would say, for herself in the book, because the book is about spirituality. It is also about her journey in life. And somehow Lala and she, they are together in this book. After working for 25 years in IT industry, she is a healer who helps others in the path of spirituality. Dance of Duality is a book by Vinita Pande. Vinita ji, my first reaction on reading your book, I have gone through each word of your book. Lal Ded, the Kashmiri mystic saint, is the lifeline of this book. How much are you influenced by her? And why Lal Ded? Why not someone else?
I think that actually this book is written, well, namaskar to everybody first. It's really an honor to be talking to Kusumji, herself quite a legendary and exemplary woman for all of us. You know, I'm always awed by mystic women of the world and especially of Bharat. So, and I found a lot of similarities between Mirabai and Lal Ded. If anybody looks at the life of both of these mystic women, they'll find some similarities. And both had a very strong voice. Because, you know, I like to write, I like to speak, and a lot of women's voices have been suppressed from patriarchy in the recent times. But in the older times, women's voice was much freer. And the mystic women of India, I mean, especially like you look at Lal Ded, was initially, you know, she had a rough time with her in-laws and things, as we can talk about that. But really, when the voice is given freedom, you see so much blossoming of the woman, you know, as a mystic. So I've always been fascinated by, like I said, by mystic women and Mirabai as well as Lal Ded. Now, I'm not like a scholar on Lal Ded, but of course I love her and all the works that I've read of her, her life and everything. And because I was going to write this as a fictional novel, it's actually not my autobiography, because it borrows some experiences from my life, but I ventured into fictional, a fictional story. And this was the reason I chose Lal Ded was also because she's from Kashmir, and I wanted to pick a Kashmiri protagonist. I feel very strongly about the Kashmiri Pandit exodus. And also, I chose the name very carefully because her last name is Bhatt. And she is a descendant of Bhatt Kalsar. And these Bhatt Kalsar was part of the 11 Bhatt. So when the Sikh gurus were very close to the Kashmiri Pandits. And so there was 11, more than 11, but mainly 11 Bhatts. Bhatt Kalsar led these to the Guru. And Guru Arjan Dev was writing the Adi Granth. So they wrote 30%. The Kashmiri Pandits wrote 30% at least of the Guru Granth Sahib, including the term that you usually hear of Vaheguru is actually was said initially only by Kashmiri Pandits. So I chose the name very carefully because I wanted to bring forth the Kashmiri exodus. I wanted to bring the link with Guru Granth Sahib and Sikhism. And because religions, is a passion of mine, and mysticism is really very close to my heart. So that's why I chose the character of Laleshwari Bhatt.
Thank you. Thank you talking about the Lal Ded and her mysticism. Her works are very relevant even today, and they will be so for future also. My second thought is, why did you write this book and what was the idea behind it?
Yes, I actually wrote this book because, I want people to know, and especially to bring out a female character, how to pursue your purpose in life. Okay. Now, a lot of times we think that the purpose in our life has to be something big, like you have to be rich, powerful, famous. The purpose doesn't have to be that grand. Even Lal Ded, she was relatively unknown. She was an ordinary woman leading a very ordinary married life till she left her family. And it was her inner expansion, her inner journey that really made her grand. It was not the outer journey. The outer journey is, you gain a lot of, you become well known, you do a lot in life. Yes, that is important. And my journey, personal journey, has been both internal and external in this life. But I wanted to convey that you can lead a relatively ordinary life, but you can achieve your purpose, and that is more important. Like the Gita says, pursuing your own dharma is very important than pursuing somebody else's dharma. So that is what I wanted to convey. It's, to every woman, don't always seek out that somebody else is famous or rich or powerful. Seek your own purpose, however big or small it is, because the universe does not judge you by how rich, powerful, or famous you've become, but it is about, did you fulfill your purpose of coming here?
Okay. Because I've gone through the book, there was something which you have written. The body is a vessel and the soul is an energy capsule. And there can be more than one energy influencing a body. Please explain this for our viewers. You have given reference of Adi Shankaracharya and Tirumular. I would
Yeah.
like, because our audience is, as I can see, our audience is only those people who are interested in knowing inner realms of life, and those who are interested in spirituality. I think this would interest our audience, this sentence.
Yes. So for that sentence also, there's one chapter in which there's some healing that is being done, and there's one person, Vishnu, who's being healed, and there's a past life regression that is done on him. But in regression, you actually go first in this life, and then you go to a previous life. Now, this is actually taken from a true story, so I'm not making this up. But when he was regressed, what was found is that when he was still in his mother's womb, he was his mother was about to give birth to him. His what was happening was the death ceremony, the last rites of his grandmother, his father's mother. And when she had exited that body, you first are in the astral realm, and this is all mentioned in the Garud Puran. She actually entered his body. Okay. So there were two souls inside his body. And this is, like I said, it's a true story. So when when he was regressed, there was a grandmother in him still till 40 years of age, and his soul were both inside the same body. So I'm not making this up. So then obviously the grandmother was talked to and she left the body, that you're not serving a purpose anymore. And that's a different story. But you see, because I do past life regression and I, do this process, it's very common. I'm not saying just for me, but in general, people do not realize that your soul is in a body and there could be other energies that can be affecting you. So in a tribal setting, people used to say, oh, kisi ki buri nazar hai, or somebody's doing this tantric thing and puja to get rid of some negative entity. Yes, it was done in those forms, but even today, using Western methods and even hypnotherapy, people are finding these, sort of, they sort of hook on to people like a lot of negative entities. So the level at which you vibrate, those kind of energies is what you attract to yourself, right? So when you're at a higher level of energy, you attract, say, angels or devas. But when you're on a lower level of vibration, you can attract negative entities. Not necessary that they will enter you, but that is a fact. I've not written all this in my book, but it is something that I have personally experienced and which is a fact that we know. And it's not meant to be scary, but it's a truth that exists. Now, the story of Tirumular and Shankaracharya I put in there because there is a inflection point in the story. It's sort of when the character's husband almost passes away from COVID. Okay. Now, what happens is he sort of actually does pass away, but there is another soul that enters his body. So the story of Tirumular, because a lot of you might be from North India and may not know of Tirumular. Tirumular was a saint in South India, and he was passing by, and there was a shepherd who died, and all the sheep and the goats were very sad. So he said, "Oh, they're so sad." And mystics and saints of India, they have the siddhis to be able to enter into another body or go into samadhi for 3 days. And there's a yogic practice or a rule that you cannot leave your body more than 3 days, and somebody has to protect your body till you come back. And there are many saints who have left their body for 3 days and come back. So like Guru Nanak, Sai Baba, Pilot Baba, there's so many of them. And so Tirumular got into this body of this shepherd who had just died to help this the sheep, So they were very happy when he woke up and everything, and he took them back home, and his wife was there, and then he met his wife, and all this stuff happened. And then he said, okay, I better go back to my own body, So I don't remember it was the same day or the next day. When he went back, some people had come by and thought it's a dead body and went and cremated it. Okay. So he was stuck in this new body for the rest of his life, and the story goes on. And now Shankaracharya, because he'd lost um, the scholars at that time used to have these debates, and Shankaracharya was famous for them. So he had lost to Mandal Mishra's wife, because she said, oh, you don't know about married life and so on and all that. So because he has lost the Shastras, he said, okay, I need to go and get this experience. So he was walking by, and he used to walk a lot all over India. There was a procession of a king who had just died. And so he put his body in a tree, and he entered the body of the king for 3 days. And so he experienced, because he had to experience this, he went through this experience of the king and the queen, and then he came back to his body, So this is not, because I've written this as a walk-in in my book, I didn't want people to think that this is just a new age idea. This is a very ancient idea. Now,
Yes.
what Western spirituality is discovering is nothing but a relabeling, a representation in a Western connotation of New Age spirituality, that which has existed all the way in our Purans. If you read the Garud Puran, for example, and other Purans and other texts, it talks in detail about all these phenomena.
Yes. In Kashmir, I have grown up in Kashmir, and I have heard these stories often. That a certain person was at a certain place, and he was at the same time, his physical body was somewhere else and his soul body was somewhere else. So two people at different places saw the same person.
Yes.
They would not be able to make out what it was happening, but certain people did.
Yes.
That this is the say. Of course, they used to be saints. No, it was not. Normal people could not do it. But Kashmir has been a place of saints, Sufis, rishis. I think because it was totally surrounded by mountains, Himalayas. There was spirituality. There was so much being with the nature. I think that also helped people in being spiritual. But the question that comes to my mind, as you are interested in Kashmir, in Lal Ded, you have studied a lot. What intrigues me, what happened in Kashmir to Kashmiri Pandits? Why did that happen? Despite so much of spirituality, despite so much of goodness, integrity of Kashmiri Pandits, still such a sad thing happened with them. And after 32, 34 years, we are still here and here only. So many people are trying different things. Government is doing their own, army is doing their own things. Local people are trying to make things better and better. I tried in my own way. We have with us Mr. Ravindra Padita in the audience. If you know that he made Sharda Temple at the border, if you have heard about it.
I'm very honored that he's here. Yes, I follow.
We are honored, of course. We are honored. He is here. So we are blessed. So my constant, I don't know what to call it, is how to help Kashmiri Pandits, how to help the situation, how to help Kashmir. So I wanted something from you which can help this situation.
You know, the divine design is much grander than human logic. So we don't know, but we have to have faith that there has to be a reason that this happened, because it's not that it's controlled by humans or by militants that this can happen to humanity. Of course, we have free will. So we are allowed to do a lot of messing up, but we can only mess up till a certain point of where the the tilt will reverse, where what you call
Yes.
karmic retribution will happen, because you can only go so far. I have not personally meditated on this, but I can. A lot
Yes.
of times we get answers in our meditations as to why this happened, but because it hurts me so much that this happened, and it's been such a thorn in my soul, that because the reverence of Kashmiri Shaivism is very ancient. Okay, so there is a Doordarshan documentary also, but I've studied a lot about the Jesus Christ's life in India.
In Kashmir especially.
So he went to Banaras and he went to Puri, he went to Tibet, but he also went to Kashmir. And
Yes.
that is sort of your PhD, because he did his initial studies in Banaras, then he did his master's in Puri, where he learned.
Yes.
He went to Tibet, where he started learning Buddhism and everything.
He went to Ladakh also, where
Ladakh.
he lived for a long time.
Yeah, so he's traveled those mountainous areas, Tibet, Ladakh, Kashmir, and he loved Kashmir, is what I gather, because after his resurrection, he actually went back to Kashmir. And there is
Yes.
a town in Pakistan called Murray where they say that actually his mother is buried.
Mother died there, and there is a tomb. His mother's tomb is there.
The
Yes.
mother's tomb, yes. So
I am doing research on this subject.
yeah. So actually, I have a friend, in Pakistan. Actually, the First Lady of Pakistan, Tahmina Durrani, is a friend of mine. So Murray was named after his
Yes.
mother's name, and there's a tomb there. And also, if you look into these things, you'll realize that there were many Jewish tribes, the lost
Yes.
tribes of Israel, that also went to the Himalayas.
Yes.
So the Kashmir has, you see, the Kashmiri Shaivism is such a revered philosophy. It's such a profound philosophy, and it's very similar to Advaita Vedanta.
Yeah.
And the peats there, like the Sharada peat, if you know that actually Shadi Shankaracharya took Sharada from there to
Yes.
Giri. Okay. So I'm very close to Sharada Ma, okay? Actually, I have a photo in my altar.
Yes.
So um
So
yes, I
that's
don't
why
know.
I think your attraction has pulled Mr. Ravindra Pandita to the program.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a very,
I
very
think that
close
is the
connection.
soul connection.
Yeah, I actually sing to her, I talk to her, I feel very close to her actually. So I don't know why this happened to Kashmiri Pandits, but one of the things that has happened is, you see, we don't understand, like I said, things from a higher perspective. Now, if you are in the soul realm, okay, because I have experienced it myself and of others, a lot of times we volunteer to be sacrificed here to make human beings learn a lesson. Okay. So what we will say, okay, I will go to planet Earth and I'll be a Kashmiri and I will go through this so that you can show the contrast that this is right and this is wrong. And in terms of the Kashmiri Pandits, the contrast is so vast. Here are people who are very pure, who are very scholarly, who are very evolved, and here are exactly the opposite. And that contrast is the most in the Kashmiri genocide. And remember, this was not the only genocide, okay? There were 7 waves from the time that the Mughals and the Turks and the Mongols came. There were 7 genocides that happened in Kashmir, not one. And I mentioned that in my book. So, it is sort of this descent from Satyug down, the yugas to Kali Yuga. And you see slowly how it accelerated. And we are sort of coming to a bridge between Kali Yuga and the next age where I feel that it has reached its climax. But I don't
Okay.
think all is lost. I think that the descent of the darkness has come towards an end. And knowledge will still continue because it's universal knowledge. It's on a galactic level, on a universal level. That knowledge, those souls who died, even Lal Ded is, she's an enlightened saint, but she's there somewhere. So like in the Gita, chapter 2, when Shri Krishna starts talking, he says, there was never a time when I was not, when you're not, and not, or so we are eternal. So I don't think that the ending of Kashmiri Pandits, of the decline of Kashmir, of Kashmir Shaivism, is still temporary.
Okay.
On a grander scale, this knowledge, these souls, everything does continue.
Thank you. We would like you to dwell upon it more and kindly guide us. Thank you. I personally feel that people so disconnected with themselves, with each other, and with the screen, which seems a root cause of psychological problems. This is what you have written in your, if you could explain this for our audience, because we see people everywhere on this planet are disturbed. There are psychological disturbances. I think everywhere there are husband-wife fights. If we see at our most common level, there are countries fighting each other, war going on. So what does this mean? How to overcome this?
Yeah, so I think that we are in a very important transition and a very important time in our world's journey, in humanity's journey. This is a very special time. I feel that, all the lives that we have lived, for those who are present here, it is sort of like, you take all these dolls or paper dolls, right? And you collapse it into one. We are living all our karma, all our past lives in this life. And what happens is, if there are past traumas, if there are past experiences, they're all present in this life. Because what happens is, this is in Vedic tradition and wisdom as well, that we carry our vasanas and our karma into the next life. But you can imagine, if you live one life, 10 lives, okay. But if you've lived thousands of lives, now so much time has passed, all that is being carried by your soul today, right? So that has accumulated to a breaking point now, where all our past impressions and our karma have grown. It's like a snowball. It's become bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like this iceberg. Now, what you see on the physical side is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because our subconscious is much below, which you cannot see. And also with the planet, you see, there is a lot of things that we have done which have gone away from nature, from dharma. Okay. So when you go away from what is beneficial, what is dharmic, there comes a breaking point. And that is where I believe we are at. We're literally at the breaking point where things are not sustainable if we continue the choices that we are making. On the personal level, when it comes to addictions, to even mental health problems, to a lot of issues in our relationships, in many other aspects.
Diseases, so many diseases.
Yes, there's so many issues that we have in the world. If we can also connect within ourselves to do the cleansing, because there are layers upon layers of impressions, which are called vasanas and tendencies, patterns, however you call it, that cleansing, that healing has to be done. Now, you can do it yourself through sadhana, but you can also get the help of a healer, of regression or hypnotherapist and all, because like I said, it's below the surface, right? It's in the iceberg where most of the iceberg is under the water. You can't get to it from your conscious mind. You can only get to a theta brainwave or your subconscious mind through either through meditation, through a trance-like state, through hypnosis or something. But there's a lot that has to be cleared. And that is why you need to connect to yourself. Otherwise what happens is then you see the external manifestations of it, which are very unhealthy, unbeneficial. And also in the world, you see how far we have disconnected with nature. So we have disconnected with our inner nature and we've disconnected from the outer nature. And dharma is nature. You see, when you draw the swastika, it is everything is in action or in rotation. There's a nature, there's everything is in a nature, in a cyclical nature, whether it's a galaxy, it's a solar system, whether it's even if you look at our cells, if you look at an atom, everything is in motion in a particular. Now, if everything is going like this, and you decide to go like this, like this, like this, you're not in sync with nature. So as soon as you go out of sync with nature, what will happen? It's like a cancerous cell. What is cancer? It is a cell that is mutating out of nature. It's exactly what is happening in our world. It's exactly what is happening with us. We become like cancer because we're not in sync with dharma, with nature. So this cancer can grow and grow and grow. Finally, it's self-destructing, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to humanity, whether it's in the microcosm, whether it's in the macrocosm. It's the same problem.
So what I gather from you, that if we have any problems which are not treated by doctors or Ved or anybody who are medical practitioners, that means we have to go to people like you. We have to take those additional blessed people like you who are there in our society to help ourselves.
Yes.
Because in your book, you have written scars of soul with trauma, negative emotions, bad experiences, as well as healing or evolution, massive amounts of psychological problems. You have called it compounding effect on humanity. As you already said, that means, see, we have problems every day. We face one problem or the other. What I feel in my life, at one moment you are very happy, then something else happens which makes you sad. Right? Or there is some problem. Our scriptures say that happiness, joy, sadness, good days, bad days, good moments, bad moments, they are part of life. But on a bigger scale than this, when people have problems, which they feel it is beyond their realm to solve it, so that means they should take help.
Yes. So I believe we need to take an integrative approach. There are people who, sometimes they are very averse to Western approach or Western medicine or just medical approach. I don't think that is a good thing. Depends. If something is critical, you should definitely take Western medical help. But when it comes to, psychosomatic, or when it comes to psychological, when it comes to spiritual, now you can look at Maslow's need hierarchy. Okay. So as as India is also progressing and becoming more economically better, the problems will move from roti kapda makan, from our basic needs more into emotional questions, mental disturbances, and spiritual, this aesthetic needs. So in America, because everything other than that is there, the issues are more on the mental level, emotional level, and on the level of aesthetic needs. So when it comes to getting help and when you have problems, yes, you will not go get answers about marital problems there. You can go to therapists. There's no harm. They will take a professional approach. They'll give you some, Western psychological therapy, therapy approach, which is very useful. I'm not saying that. But when you go to an intuitive healer, or when you go to somebody who can do more for you, it could be, past life regression, it could be pranic healing, it could be an intuitive person. And there are many, many intuitive healers now, even in India, because we are intuitive. Okay. And especially Indians, because our DNA is full with all these mystics. Everybody is intuitive. You just have to hone it. It's like a plant. You give it water, sun, and everything, it will grow. But when you're in trouble, take all the help. So it should be an integrative approach. Now, what is missing? You see, in older days, when we did have a village system, in a village system, you did have some wise person, some grandmother who was intuitive, then you had somebody you can go to. I mean, you look at any village setting, you had much more support. Now, what I write in my book is that support is going away. You see, also you don't have a community. The family structure is also breaking down. Now in India, you see, it fared much better in COVID because we have a much better support system than there's in the West.
Joint families.
Yeah, just the family itself, you see, the
Yes.
values of the family, you take each other for granted, you help each other unconditionally. But there is many things, it takes a village to heal a person. It's not one person, you
Yeah.
see. So it's not just a doctor, a therapist, go to your family members. Actually, there was somebody here visiting from France, and he's my son's friend, and he's visiting from France. And, I was talking to him, because, just because I counsel people. But it's amazing, that you have people that you now can talk on Zoom, and things like that. So, reach out to as many sources to see what will help you.
Exactly.
Right? And something will click. But there are many, many, many things out there now which are available to you.
Yes. Thank you for this. In your book, you have talked about the ancestral baggage that was coded in my genes needs to be released, karma attached to it. So I think if you could elaborate on what is this coding of genes, because this takes us near to science and then again away from science. This
Yeah,
sentence
so
of yours in the book.
yeah, so you can think of it like this, that our pitra dosh or our pitra karma are in our DNA. Okay, so on a spiritual level, you can think of it as karma or pitra dosh or whatever. But in a scientific way, you can think of it being encoded in your genes. Okay, so when you get inheritance, you also get inheritance of your genes, from your parents, from many.
Yes.
And especially in men, I mean, I can go into various areas, but when you said ancestral, now you see the Y chromosome in men does not change. Okay, it does not change. The X chromosome, it interchanges, they interchange and they regenerate. Now, the Y chromosome, like when we ask somebody, okay, what is your gotra? Okay, in men. Why is it only men? Because in the men, the Y chromosome does not change. Women, it changes.
So it remains constant.
Right. So if I say my Gotra is Upamanyu, which came from Vashishta, and they were originally the seven rishis, which were the progenitors of humanity. Finally, you'll see all the Gotras, the family tree will lead to 7. Now, the Y chromosome has been the same from that initial progenitor, which is maybe Vashisht, down to my brother. He has the same Y chromosome as Vashisht.
Right. Yes.
But our ancestral, you see, our genes and our DNA, it also mutates. But
Hmm.
I can change my genes, you know. Now, there's also a saying that when somebody in our lineage is enlightened, he heals 7 generations before him and he affects 7 generations after him because he or she has been enlightened. Why? Because, you know, it's epigenetics. You know, our genes can change, you know, whether a gene turns on or doesn't turn on.
Hmm.
It's what triggers it. So,
Yes.
you know, it's karma. It's a combination of our parental karma. I may have gotten cancer genes from my parents, but the gene may not turn on in myself. So it's
Hmm.
not totally, you know, that it's just the baggage. But you see, when we talk on a spiritual level also, there is an energy that passes down. Okay. Now, when you talk of the Shakti path, the initiation of a guru to a shishya is not of DNA and genes. It's a transmission of energy. Now, when you come from the physical level to the energy level, and the energy level is far vaster, bigger, more powerful than matter. Okay. Energy is much, much, much bigger and more powerful and vast. So when you can see the energy world, when the veil is open and you see from your third eye, you can see from your third eye. Please don't think that you can't. When you start seeing the energy world, you will see these exchange of energies happening, you know, and that also happens from our parents to us. Just like the guru shishya transmits an energy, when we are born, you'll see why is our nature like our mother or our father is also an energy transmission that happens. So we also carry our ancestors within us. We
Yes.
do. We
Yes.
carry all our ancestors within us.
Yes. There is a saying that the good karma of 7 generations and the bad karma of 7 generations, it comes to us.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yes. There is a saying in India that
right.
before me, my 7 generations, that comes to me, not
Correct.
only father or grandfather or maternal or paternal, which I think it also means what you already said. It comes to that, but I think the good a person has done, it comes down, you
Yes,
know,
it does, because you've
to
changed
you
your own. Yes.
through energy, and people also remember, oh, she is the granddaughter of this person. He was
Mhm.
such a nice man, or she was such a nice woman. Oh, she's the granddaughter of that person, or she's the daughter of this person. Once I went to Amarnath during my college days, and something happened there. Then I went to someone for help. He was in police. So he asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Anantanath. So, acha, from this family. So he told me, is Rupa your mother? I said, yes. Are you the granddaughter of Dinanath Kol? I said, yes. So I was surprised. I didn't know this person. So then he helped. Immediately he helped. Then once I asked my parents, so they said that he is the cousin of your grandfather. So that, the way he helped me immediately was because of my grandfather, because they must be having that relation or anything good that this person had done to him.
Yeah.
So that helped me in, they must have done in the 19th century and helped me in the 20th century. This is
That
I'm
also
talking
helps.
about
Yes.
19, I think 86 or something.
Yes. And
So I think it
I
is something like that.
yes, absolutely. Of course, your lineage also can help you or hinder you, depends.
Yes,
But you're from Anantnag, and which is a
yes,
very special place. As you know, Lal Ded was just from outside Anantnag.
yes. They are saying that she left her body in Bijbehara. That is just 10 kilometers away from
Yes,
Anantnag.
right outside Anantnag.
She
Yes.
left her. She put herself as water in that this small earthen pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she put one below her feet, a small pot, then one on the head. They merged together, and when finally people took the upper one out, they found some water in it. That is the story about how Lalde left this earth in
Yes,
Bijbe.
so she disappeared. And the same thing with Mirabai, because like I said, they're
Ah,
very similar because Mira's body was not found.
yes, they saw this pallu of her sari in the statue of Krishna. A part of it had
Yes,
left,
it was, yeah.
and people felt that she had merged with Krishna in the
Yeah,
statue.
they say, yes. We don't know,
Yes,
but
that is the saying. Yes. Uh, so let us move ahead. My being belonged to a group of 12 souls. We were born like a litter from cosmic divine mother womb ages ago. I didn't understand this part, what exactly it meant.
yeah.
So I got
Yes. So, I have written this as a fiction, but like I said, some of this is borrowed from my own experiences. So, in one of the sessions that I had done, which was in between lives, so where I had gone to a realm where I was only soul. So, I had passed from one life, I was a Buddhist monk in Tibet. I passed that life and I went to the realm where souls reside before you take birth again. Okay. So you see there you can see where is your soul, where does it stay, because we stay outside the body also as soul. Where do we go, where do we stay, what happens there, what's the world there, and there are many 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 worlds over there as well. So what I had seen in one of these experiences, and my friends have also had this experience, how are souls created in the universe, right? So, you talk about the Divine Mother and what is the Divine Mother, and she's not some human being sitting up there in heaven. So, when you look at creation, it is uh, it is an exact replica in the microcosm and the macrocosm, and this is explained in the Tattva Bodh by Adi Shankaracharya. So on the macrocosmic level, now it's not a physical mother, but sort of an energetic mother that exists, because all of creation, Prakriti, is nothing but Shakti. Uh, so from that body of uh, the universe, which is the mother, in one section of that body is what I felt was her womb. And from that womb, these souls were emerging, almost like a litter. So there's like groups of souls. So in one group, it was me and these 12 souls that emerged from this sort of womb. And I could feel the mother, the divine mother's energy, okay, which is beyond human description. It is so loving, warm, uh, very motherly love. It's hard to explain, but it's like warmth of the mother. And then you're born, and as of course, the Shiva and Shakti. So Shiva is the consciousness and Shakti is matter. So between energy and matter is how we are born. So when that soul was born, then I became sort of a group of 12 souls, my brother and sister souls that were born together. Now, in the experience that I've had, which I've also written in fiction, is that, when certain children go up to a certain grade and you say, okay, you've gone to like fifth grade, I'm still in third grade. So certain uh, those souls, they had migrated to a next level, to go on to another group. Now, when I had this experience, we were an octagonal, we were all connected because we don't have a physical body, but we are energy. And so we were connected as an octagon in this shape, in this area. But what my point is, what our Purans write, what our texts write, is nothing but a attempt by our rishis to explain their experiences. And they are not fiction, they are not myth, they are not mythology, they are fact. They are experiences of many, many rishis who are far more evolved than I am. And they're enlightened people. And I know some who are very evolved saints. In fact, I'm going to meet one next week. So they all are these experiences of people, real people in our history.
Right. And what we are seeing today in today's world, so much strife, so wars, diseases, people fighting. And as you said that we should take help of this, uh, we take help of religion, science, occult, spirituality. The way we have in India, and you have taken certain these from Westerners. You have learned certain things from Westerners, sound therapy and other things. There are certain realms of life, outer world, in Arab world also, in Islam also, in Christianity also. And people are taking help of so many things that are available. So why is the world still there only? Bhagavan Buddha left his home, he left his wife, he left his child, son, to know about life, why someone is old, why disease, why death. But still we are there only. He discovered everything else between A to Z. But basic question remained same. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is this not, despite people taking help, all religions having these extra helps where they can go? So why are humans like this as they were thousands of years back? As you said that it is about to end, or so do you think there will be something better after this realm of life will end? Because there is so much disease, so much wars going on, strife in the world, violence.
Mm-hmm.
Despite that, we know so much about religion. Despite that, um, Islam started because at that point of at that place on earth, people may not have been knowing what is right, what is wrong, or what is spirituality. Or when Jesus Christ, as you have read about so much about Jesus Christ, you have read about his and uh, what he gave to the world. So people at that time in Jerusalem, they may not be knowing, and he said something new to the people around him. So that is why people got attracted towards him or towards Prophet Muhammad. So then why? What is at present?
Yeah.
Despite
again,
having so much of knowledge, despite knowing everything,
yeah.
why are we still there and there?
See, you have to remember that, on a grander scale, the planet Earth, okay, you can think of it as being created as an experiment where you can have souls that come that do have a choice, free will. Okay. So, there is, like you hear in the Puranas, there's always fighting between devas and asuras. So you can think of that as a replay that is happening now. Okay? Not just in a human level, but maybe in other levels also. There could be something happening which we cannot see. But you can think of the earth as an experiment to see if we give these people free will. It's like, almost like you give mice and you say, okay, we'll give these mice free will, let's see what happens. You take them to a certain point, but you do not say, human beings, if they try to detonate a nuclear bomb or try to exterminate themselves, nature and the divine will step in. And that is why in the book, there is a part I've written and I've not made it very obvious. But it is nature finally that brings the transition. When the wars start happening and human beings are killing each other, and the Third World War, because I go into the future and I describe World War III, it is not humans that bring that transition to a new age. It is actually nature that takes over and says, okay, enough. Because you can let children play and you can let children make choices, but you will not let children destroy themselves. So we are coming to a point where we are saying that, look, we gave you the choice. Free will is a choice. Like you have knowledge and you have darkness, you have light, and that's the duality, right? It's all about duality, what you choose. Because even Lala's twin brother, Abhinav, was named after Abhinav Gupta. Abhi has made the wrong choices in life, right? Look at his nature. And then you see the difference between the society which is spiritual and the one that is material or violent. That is also described. Now, what we are seeing is the duality is increasing in our world.
Yes.
The spiritual are becoming very spiritual, and the people who are violent, who are ignorant, who are egoistic, they're becoming worse, and it's coming to the surface. Because now we have TVs, we have social media, this duality is being showcased to the world to tell people, now you can see it on your screens. In the old days, you could not see this duality on a great global scale. So now we are being showcased this duality. We are being given a chance. We'll give one chance, two chances, three chances. Most people have chosen the dark side, the negative side. Very, very few people choose the right side, So in the Kathopanishad, it's called Shreyas and Preyas. That which is beneficial, which is not beneficial. We do not, in Hinduism, in Vedic terminology, I don't like to use Hinduism. In Vedic terminology, we don't say right or wrong. It is a very evolved system of knowledge. It is not like for kindergartners. You can think, when you have religions in the Middle East, they were illiterate people, they were shepherds, they were not highly educated. But you see, during Buddha and even in Kashmir, people are PhDs, So the logic, the analysis, the science of the knowledge is far, far, far more advanced, So it's not about right or wrong. So it's about beneficial and not beneficial. That is the right way to explain to somebody who's intelligent. Look, this is beneficial for you. This is not beneficial for you. Even to my children, I don't tell them this is right and wrong. They'll say, what do you mean by right and wrong? Explain.
Yes.
So
right and wrong is different for different people.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So, so the thing is, people have made the wrong choices. We're coming to a tipping point. And this will become more and more obvious. So, it's like we are in a transition. I have a very strong feeling we're in a transition. In even the Vedic astrologers, there are a couple of very famous astrologers. What's his name? I'm forgetting. He's an American actually, but he's called Vamdev, Acharya Vamdev. And he's also mentioned that from 2020, there was a conjunction in December to December of 2040. We're going through a very big transition. And this is something I want to mention because the people who are listening to us now will see some of these changes coming. And it is very important for us to stay with the knowledge, to be grounded, to, no matter what, to abide by the values and virtues. Because in the times to come, it'll be very confusing, especially for young people, and they won't understand what is happening, because the Middle East war will escalate. There might be another war with Taiwan. They might, people are already saying World War III, World War III, and do not go with the fear psychosis that is being churned on in media, in popular channels. We should not side with fear. We should side with love.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Vinita ji. I think your book will make an interesting read for our viewers. Like you have not made our viewers panic that there will be Third World War or something. But how grounded we should be, how we should take everything that is coming in our stride, how we should stick to our ancient knowledge, our scriptures, our Vedas, our wisdom, which has come to us since thousands of years and which is still relevant to us. Thank you for everything. So we have an enlightened audience. I would request some of you, we could go for an question answer session for 10 minutes. Is that fine with you?
Sure.
Yeah. I think, Ravinder ji, could we start with you?
Namaskar ji, so interesting and so absorbing session.
Pranam.
I have just a few points to make. We were discussing about Lalde, where she left her physical body. That small pond is called Lal Drag. It's near on the outskirts of Pampur. It's in South Kashmir. And there's a recent trend now. For the last 25 years, nobody attended that. It has become a sort of a garbage dumping pond, unfortunately. But people out there who have the reverence about Laldet, they have started, doing the oblations of yellow rice again, offerings, and trying to clean it up. Anyway, that was the point which was missing the place. That's Laldrag, the pond. And other interesting thing is that about Sharda, you have been describing so much. And of course, Sharda is what I can say, it's everything is Sharda Mata, Shardamba. So in that context, I have to add that it was in 14th century that Vidya Ranganyaji Maharaj carried our sandalwood statue, idol, Murti, from Kashmir, from Sharda Peeth, which is described in many books and written by many authors, particularly Zainul Abidin Badsha was a very ardent follower of Mata Sharda, and the sandalwood Murti was carried from there to Sringeri. Now you see the turn of events and the divine intervention, which you have described very well in this session, that after 700 years, the same Sharda Mata goes back. Now it's only Murti is a symbolic, it's a pratibimba or a symbol. But you see the thing which was carried obviously because of the Islamic invasion and noticed or well conceived of by Vidya Ranganyaji Maharaj. He quietly carried it and it's still in Sringeri. And we have been given a Panchloha Murti, Bharati Tirthaji Maharaj. And after 700 years, she's back at LOC Titwal Temple, which we never knew. What is this place? We are all alien to that land, LOC land. So it has come up, divine intervention will take over, as you said. And my question particularly about your experience and what I could sum up. You described about the 7 exoduses of Kashmiri Pandits. There might be more, but the recorded ones, what we put in sequence, right, from Shamir's period up to 1990. So 1990, we say this is our 7th exodus. My question would be, what is the single factor or what is the attraction which took us back on 6 previous occasions? Now we are out on 7th occasion. We've been thrown out on the 7th occasion. So do you feel that, yes, it can be again reversed, and like on previous 6 occasions, we are there? Now I know why I am there again on 7th also, but I want to know from you, what took us back on 6 occasions? Thank you so much. Namaskar.
I'm trying to understand, Ravindraji, what you mean. Why is it that it kept happening over and over again?
No, it happened, but we returned 6 times. That's why we were thrown out on 7th occasion. At one
Yeah.
point of time, we were only 11 houses. What we described in Kashmiri, only 11 houses were left.
Families.
Kahgar, literally, were there.
Families.
Now, from
Yes.
11 houses, 11 families, we rose up to 5 lakh. 5 lakh were thrown out in 1990. So what is taking us back to the Kashmir? Is it something, some laws, some, some sort of corruption practices, or our heritage and culture or love to the Kashmir, or spirituality, which is taking us back on 6 occasions? Now, 7th time we have been thrown out.
Yes. I don't know the answer, but the thing is, what I have seen about uh, the tradition of Bharat, and it's not just Kashmir, but the dharmic people will never leave their land. You see, even in Ayodhya or Mathura or in Kashmir, whenever they are removed, they will always come back. You remove them and they'll come back. You remove them and they'll come back because of the dedication to the land, not as a physical land. Hindus are never about possession, material possession, but the attachment to the divine. Because Kashmir is a divine land for Kashmiris. It is not, even our ancestors are worshipped as divine. So it is for that divineness of that land, that connection to the energy, you see. That energy is like a magnet, and that energy is still present. When there's a siddha, like in Dharamshala, there's a place called Siddhabadi. That is where siddhas took samadhi. When these Kashmiri saints have taken samadhi, even at that lake that you're mentioning of Laleshwari, they say they stay present there, and the vibrations there don't leave for thousands of years, that vibration of enlightenment, right? It is that vibration, it is that energy that will pull us back, always. And it's that because, you see, Sharadamba is a Swayambhu, right? It is not, whether you install a murti there, you don't install a murti, it's regardless. She is present there. Now you can transmit that energy through granite, and we can communicate through her through some symbol. But that Swayambhu, the entire Kashmir is reverberating, with very advanced, very high vibration. And people who have high vibration, like if you are resonating at, say, 700 megahertz, and there is a land which is vibrating at 700 megahertz, you will attract each other, right? It's a very high vibrational land, Kashmir. So people of high vibration, even Jesus, he went there because the vibration is so high.
Yes. Out of all places in the world, why did he go there only after resurrection? Very
Yes. And we
Very-
know when people ran away, you see, it is easy to run away with the idol. You can't take the whole temple with you. That is why when the conquests were happening, they couldn't protect the temple, but they used to run away with the idol. And they used to send it far south. So, and even people ran, Saraswat Brahmins are Kashmiris. They're Konkan, in Konkan, they're Kashmiris.
Yes. Yes. Nagarjuna.
Yes.
He
So
said
people who
that
can
in one of
sense
his
vibration,
videos.
people who can sense energy, they will trek for hundreds of miles, to go to that point of energy. I've been to Himachal also. And even in Himachal, a lot of places you can feel the Devi, you can feel Shiva.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
Yes.
Anything else, Ravinderji? I think you got the answer. Your high
Yeah,
energy
yeah.
made
Thank
you
you.
go back.
Thank you.
And
You
people
were
like me
describing,
also have been
you were
following.
describing Jesus in Kashmir again and again. We forget the place. We should name it. It's called Rosabal. It is
Yes.
in Srinagar. Yeah, very much. Thank you.
Yusmarg also. There are
Yes.
actually 12 places in Kashmir which are named after Jesus. Many villages.
I'll tell you one.
We say he was buried there at Rosabal, there the
Yes.
tomb. in
Yeah,
Srinagar.
Yes.
that
Exactly. In
we,
old
yeah,
Kashmir.
that's
In
one
old
of the
Kashmir.
guesses. Yes. There
Yes.
is a documentary of Doordarshan of Kashmir
Yes.
in Jesus in Kashmir. It's very good.
Exactly. Yes. And in that documentary, my dad's history professor, he's the person, he's not alive now, but when it was made, he talked about it. That
Mhm.
who are they and what are they now in Kashmir? The tribes. There is in Bijbehara town where we talked about Laldet, there is a Shiva temple. In that their compound, there is a big stone where people used to lift it. 11 people used to lift it. They would say that ka 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 ka. Ka means 11. They were talking about the 11 tribes of Israel. They
Israel.
could lift it with the finger, one finger. The energy of 11 people would lift the big stone.
Hmm.
So there are many stories which are there about Jesus, about Jews. There is so much to share, but I think we will get late. We should keep another session on Jesus Christ in Kashmir. It would be very interesting. Is anybody else who would like to ask a question to Madam? Anybody? Hello?
Hello.
I see a hand there. Yes.
Yeah. So
Please
first of all,
introduce.
namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar,
Yes.
Vinita ji. Namaskar, Kusum ji. I'm Manish Khernar, and thank you, Kusum ji, for inviting me to this enlightening session. And Vinita ji, it was really enlightening. And as you said, I have not gone through your book, so I'll go through your book, and then I might be come up with some really nice questions. But as of now, what you said, so we are going through human race in this earth dimension from the on this earth dimension are going through some kind of transformation, right? That I can also experience being in the similar field in which you are. I'm curious about how I have been given to understanding that you practice in US. Am I right?
That's right.
Yes. She lives in California.
California. Okay. So, what are your observation? How you feel the transformation in West?
It's significant, because I'm connecting to many people in the spiritual community. It is exceptional. There are so many people in Europe also and in America also that it is phenomenal. And most people don't know this, but there is so much resurgence of spirituality. And the thing is, I also wrote an article which connects the New Age terms, the Western terms, to the Vedic terms. But it's really a return of the Vedic Dharma, is what I am seeing.
Uh, Yeah, true. I would really like to keep in contact with you. I'm also practicing hypnotherapist and past life regression therapist. So
I
would
had
definitely-
said, please introduce yourself. Could you say your name and introduce yourself?
I'm Manish Karnar, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a past life regression therapist. I'm a spiritual healer,
I see.
and I'm practicing
Yes,
since more than
he's
10, 12
based in
years.
Ahmedabad. And
Good. We'll have a very good resource now in India.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, and we have actually, I was chairperson of Business Women Wing in Gujarat. So that time, on a full moon night, his wife is my friend. So we had gone to a farmhouse where we did an meditation under moon, full moon meditation. It was amazing experience that all of us had. So for further, I could not go. I got busy with my other assignment. So I have to be there. And when I am in America, I have to visit you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Anybody else?
Vinita ji.
Anybody else who would like to ask anything? I think.
Will it be possible to get access to the recording? Because I missed some of the session today, unfortunately, due to distraction. Will it be possible to
Yes.
get access to the recording?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
it's there on the Shaktiworld YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just search on YouTube.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was live on Facebook also, and you can see it on YouTube. I think so far we have to end this journey here only. Thank you, Vinita ji, and our listeners who are here. They showed so much of interest. Thank you, Ravinder ji. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And those who were here, I'm sure they were benefited by what Vinita ji said from her experiences of her life. And thank you, everybody. And thank you,
Sanjeev.
Shaktiworld, for having me here to anchor this program. I am blessed. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.